I request Dr. Pachauri to say a few words.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really very happy that we have a very distinguished leader, not only from government but from academia, Dr. Moniz, who's Secretary, Department of Energy. I've had the pleasure and privilege of knowing him for many years, and on one occasion I remember we met on this hardship location, a beautiful island called Cyprus. And he's been a great driver of innovation and very useful programs at MIT. And we're absolutely delighted that he's holding a position where he can make a difference not only, and is making a difference, not only in this country, but globally. We're also meeting at a time when we've just had an extremely successful visit by the Prime Minister of India, and I briefly ran through some of the major components of the final statement that has come out from the White House on the meetings. But let me just say that I'm not going to read Dr. Moniz's CV for you, but he's really been a leader, as I said, not only in government but also in academia, and a researcher who's got the academic rigor but also a very deep appreciation of some of the practical realities by which research can make a difference and bring about commercialization and application of technologies. He's had a very wide range of experience. He was responsible for overseeing the program with comprehensive review of nuclear weapons stockpile stewardship, and he served as the Secretary Energy's special negotiator for the disposition of Russian nuclear materials, and that, you can imagine, must have been an extremely complex undertaking. So apart from his academic and policy-making skills, he obviously is also a remarkable diplomat. We also have with us, and I have the pleasure of acknowledging Dr. Michael McQuade, a good friend, who I've known for several years, and he's also been a remarkable leader of industry. I've had the privilege of going to his company, UTC, on several occasions, and the wonderful feature that I saw in the organization of that company was that when somebody retires, they take the person on as a fellow who provides advice, who provides wisdom, and that, to my mind, is an extremely innovative way of not losing talent and allowing human capital to just waste away. Dr. McQuade holds a PhD and MS and BS degrees in physics from Carnegie Mellon. He received his PhD in experimental high physics for research on charm quark production performed at the Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory. Please don't ask me to explain that. But maybe Dr. McQuade can tell you after the session what all that involves. I'll just take a few minutes to try and sum up some of the topics that we've covered in the 2 days that we've had in this particular event. There was, of course, inevitably a frequent reference to Prime Minister Modi and President Obama's discussions and the various items that they have flagged for cooperation between the two countries. We're very fortunate that this is the 5th in a series of events that we've been organizing annually called the US-India Energy Partnership Summit, and we're delighted that Yale has been a partner in this effort. President Peter Salovey unfortunately had to leave earlier in the day, but we greatly valued his presence over here. I'd just like to mention quickly some of the subjects that I believe require follow-up, require much deeper introspection and analysis. One is the whole field of smart cities. As you're aware, the Prime Minister of India has launched a program for creating 100 smart cities, and these are not going to be new cities. These are essentially going to be cities that will get converted to a smart mode. And we would certainly look forward to opportunities by which US entities can work with those in India. I also want to remind you that TERI has been identified as a kind of a knowledge partner for the Ministry of Urban Development in this initiative. There was discussion in our summit on institutional investments in renewable energy, and for the first time, I think, in India, there is now a very upbeat and optimistic attitude to renewable energy. Of course, there are those who still feel that costs are high, but there's now mounting evidence on so many applications where renewable energy makes a great deal of economic sense. Yesterday, we had the corporate dialogue, which also focused on smart city building. And in the opening session, we looked at ways of ensuring that the ideas articulated by the two heads of government were implemented, and learning from the problems in the past, such as having too many ministries dealing with diverse elements and not having a center to coordinate and ensure implementation. I think these partnership efforts and any collaboration between two governments has to be streamlined in a manner that you've got very clearly defined focal points with adequate power, with adequate access to all the resources in the government. And I think we've learned from the past. We also know that our Prime Minister in particular is very practical in his approach when it comes to dealing with some of these challenges. We had a very enlightened keynote address by Dr. Shah, the director of USAID, and he talked about various successful models for cooperation. And his hope was that these models can be expanded to the energy sector. And I think he highlighted the fact that the cooperation that perhaps can be expanded between the US and India would involve business partnerships, would involve all stakeholders, so that it's a comprehensive effort involving those that can really make a difference. And finally, let me say that the road ahead for US-India cooperation would involve energy efficiency, because that can really use the opportunities in India to create a huge market. And as people often say, energy efficiency is the fifth fuel. I don't know which four are referred to prior to the fifth fuel. Much of this transformation could be garnered by energy efficient buildings. And I must say, in this regard, my colleagues in TERI, led by Ms. Mili Majumdar, have been at the forefront of efforts. And we're very happy that now we also have a relationship with the US Green Buildings Council. So there's already now an avenue by which transfer of know-how will take place, not only in one direction, but in both directions. So I think we need to create such models. We need to create such processes by which we find more such opportunities actually being implemented. So Annapurna, may I now request the Secretary Energy to give us his keynote address in this final and concluding session of the summit. Could you please join me in giving him a big hand?
thank you, Pachi. We have known each other for a while. But I must say you're labeling this a keynote address, maybe elevating it beyond what it deserves, but I'm certainly very happy to be here to join you and make some remarks, especially now at the end of a very historic and I think by all indications very successful visit between our two leaders. Pachi, of course, is very well known. I won't give his biography, but just want to always take the opportunity to acknowledge his leadership really at a global level on clean energy and climate change issues. Again, he's really served not only India and the United States, but really the whole global community with his leadership. Also, another old friend, Mike McQuade from United Technologies. Glad to be up here with him and with Annapurna Vancheswaran as well, who I've also had the pleasure of meeting before. I might add that while, of course, the visit of the Prime Minister dominated the news yesterday, I want to point out another very important action yesterday when President Obama issued yesterday a proclamation declaring October National Energy Action Month. So here we are today. We're kicking off Energy Action Month, and I think it didn't say that the action was only here in the United States. So I think the partnership that was put forward with India as well is going to be part of that. And also I'd note that Pachi, you just said something, of course, that we share, the hope that we will also see lots of collaboration, partnership, trade, all in the energy space. And as you know, this will not be what I will focus on today, clearly, but as you all know, the United States is going through quite a remarkable period in its energy system. And just recently, Fortune magazine put out an article on the 100 fastest growing companies here. And it was interesting, and the president found it interesting, that 26 out of those 100 had their growth attributed to the energy sector in the United States. So it's really something that's really taking off. I might say that it's not only about producing oil and gas; it's also about the whole supply chain for supporting energy services. So it's really happening here, and I think the more that we and India can collaborate in this space, the best chance we have for addressing things like climate, but also addressing economic growth. I should say, in my previous professional life, the halcyon days of being an MIT faculty member and building an energy initiative there, I came to know there as well the importance of our collaborating with India, traveling there typically twice a year, building up partnerships, including visiting TERI, by the way, I might say, in that period. So really had a very good picture, really, of what was happening in India. In energy, and also what's not happening in terms of the amazing need that is still there for everything from serving the very large urban populations to the underserved rural populations, and a great challenge, and one that we want to work with you to meet through technology, through analysis, through trade, et cetera, to meet those challenges. Becoming Secretary of Energy, also my first foreign trip, my first foreign trip was also to India, and then in fact I returned there this March to really hopefully again start building up the foundations of increased collaboration. And in fact, I'll say that going back even earlier, I was at that time the senior Department of Energy member of President Clinton's delegation in the historic trip to India in March of 2000. And so I think that really provides also a good baseline for looking at what has been some tremendous progress, but also what remain as the large challenges. So anyway, I just want to say that I really enjoy working with my Indian colleagues, visiting India, and advancing collaborations. I don't need to say a lot to this group about climate change and the backdrop it provides to some of the work that I hope we're going to be doing and expanding. But just to focus just for a few seconds on one element. Clearly, as you all know, I think President Obama put out a climate action plan last June, one that largely certainly sets our agenda at DOE in terms of our energy programs. But what I want to emphasize is even since that came out last June, a particular pillar, one of the 3 pillars of that plan, has certainly gotten a lot more attention, and that is the area of adaptation and the fact that we are seeing around us what certainly has for a long time been anticipated as the pattern of impacts that we would expect, in fact, from global warming. So earlier this year, we, the administration, put out our 3rd climate assessment, and it really focused on this issue of the impacts that we are seeing and their tremendous variability as well as you go to different regions of our country. The same obviously applies to other parts of the world, and certainly India is not immune in any sense to that. Again, something that you well know. I always remember, again, in my last life at MIT, some of the economists there did a really rigorous analysis of mortality issues from additional very hot days, sorting through the data very, very carefully. And not surprisingly, what one found was adaptation matters. It's called air conditioning, and there was essentially no impact in the United States, whereas in India, obviously, especially in some of the rural areas perhaps, there was a substantial effect. That's just one simple example of how we have to meet the adaptation challenges. It's about people's lives, it's about their productivity, but we have to do it in a way that provides the energy resource needed in a clean way as to not exacerbate our other challenges. So those are some of the areas that certainly we would want to be working together. Similarly, I'm not going to go through it, but the issue of Himalayan glaciers is critical for 1/5 of the world's population. The issue of sea level rises, again, India and neighbors among those at great risk, and clearly the concomitant benefits in addressing climate in terms of air pollution being critical, again, something that in the major urban centers, as you well know, is a major challenge. So this is just one area I just wanted to say that we have an increasing focus in this. This is not to displace our efforts on mitigation, quite the contrary, because if we don't mitigate, we're going to have an awful lot of adapting to do, but we do feel that we simply have to start addressing in parallel mitigation and adaptation, and I think both of those can be part of our expanded partnership. As already stated, the joint statement, Apache said, the joint statement of President Obama and Prime Minister Modi, we think has a lot to be happy about. In particular, this one line I'll just read, that they agreed to a new and enhanced strategic partnership on energy security, clean energy, and climate change. Then there were some more specifics, but at a high level, that is exactly the kind of commitment on the part of both leaders that will help us expand our efforts. I know the Prime Minister, climate is not new to him. Pachi was telling me about his book on convenient action, to address climate change impacts. And in fact, my understanding is it created even a separate department for climate change as Chief Minister of Gujarat, while extending electricity to rural areas in that state with a strong emphasis on renewable energy. It has the feel of something that Pachi might have been in the middle of, but I'll let him discuss that. And now, very early in his term as Prime Minister, really providing a new momentum for changes in energy markets, clean energy research and development, and electrification of India's rural communities. Accomplishing the national solar mission goals is a big part of that. And earlier this week, the Prime Minister declared his commitment to provide electricity to every village in India within 5 years. I might say that about a month ago or so, my Deputy Secretary, Dan Poneman, who will be leaving his office on Friday, but I can assure you we will have continuity. He was in India with Secretary Pritzker, et cetera, and I would just say that he came back impressed with a level of, it's not a pun, a level of energy in terms of pursuing these programs, and felt very, very hopeful. That was even prior to the Prime Minister's visit, that we would have new opportunities to collaborate. Nuclear energy, that's an area where we need to step up our collaboration, but we are looking forward to new ideas by the Prime Minister to help India in its commitment to nuclear. Here in this country, I want to emphasize that, President Obama has articulated an all-of-the-above energy strategy, which I'd be happy to discuss at length. But it is just what it says, that we are committed and we are investing significant resources in research, development, demonstration, and deployment across all of the energy sources, but always consistent with aiming towards a low-carbon future. So that's a fixed point, and then we are looking at all approaches, coal to renewables and energy efficiency, conservation, as part of the solution. We strongly believe that there is not a low-carbon solution. There will be different low-carbon solutions in different countries, and there will be different low-carbon solutions in different parts of our country. In different regions, different renewable resources, et cetera. So that is really an important direction, and one in which nuclear energy, in which we are also making strong investments. And again, referring back to the joint statement, I think the broader line, which was also encouraging, is our partnership is robust, reliable, and enduring, and it is expanding. Saying a little bit more about our collaboration, U.S.-India. India has been a key partner in energy cooperation in the Clean Energy Ministerial for the last 5 years. It was hosted in India last year, and that's advanced our progress in areas like appliance efficiency standards, LED lighting, building and industrial efficiency, smart grids, women in clean energy, and more. Just one concrete example from that list, India became, coming out of the Clean Energy Ministerial collaboration, became the world's first country to release comprehensive quality and performance standards for solid-state lighting, a step made possible, again, in part by this collaboration with the United States under the CEM. And I think, I gather that fits nicely as well into the theme of the discussion with UTC that will be coming up in a few minutes. There are many other collaborations, U.S.-India Energy Dialogue, East Asia Summit, 3 tracks of our partnership to advance clean energy, and the recently launched Promoting Energy Access Through Clean Energy, or PEACE. Again, when I was in Delhi in March, we had a session, an extended session, in which American and Indian researchers leading these joint clean energy R&D center consortia presented their progress. And what came through was this wasn't just another MOU. I mean, these were real people working on real projects and making real progress. It was really one of the most successful partnerships of this type, frankly, that I have seen, at least with the Department of Energy and corresponding entities elsewhere. Those areas, by the way, solar energy, advanced biofuels, and building energy efficiency, and in all three cases, the Indian and the United States American researchers were really coordinating their work closely and making real progress. On the building side, an estimated 75% of India's buildings that'll be standing in 2030 haven't been built yet. So we really have the opportunity to get sustainable buildings right the first time and not have to go back and retrofit at great expense. And so again, I suspect we will be hearing more about that in a few minutes. So we have a strong base to build on, but some of the promising areas for new or expanded collaboration announced yesterday in conjunction with the Prime Minister's visit. A new U.S.-India Energy Smart Cities partnership to promote more energy-efficient infrastructure at the municipal level. I'm pleased to say that that's an example of a collaboration that was discussed in some depth during the visit of Secretary Pritzker and Deputy Secretary Poneman to India a month ago or so. AID was mentioned, a new multi-million-dollar effort funded by USAID to support large-scale integration of renewable energy into the grid. Here I will just say that we collaborate strongly at the department with AID in terms of advancing their programs, but also we have very, very strong partnerships with other of the financing entities for promoting two-way trade, like the Exim Bank, like the Overseas Private Investment Corporation, like the Trade Development Agency, and so don't be surprised if we end up in India kind of in clusters together and not alone, because these are important collaborations. On that issue of infrastructure and integration, et cetera, I might say another opportunity that I've always appreciated, but maybe an area to focus on now is the idea of looking in the rural context at networks of villages that can be brought together in terms of energy, economic development, health, transportation services, et cetera. Another kind of area that we would be very happy to explore. Clearly, Indian entrepreneurs have lots of great ideas, including for off-grid, and I've said this many times, but he probably isn't here today, but Harish Hande I've never forgotten his line from years ago of solar energy being too expensive for the rich, but very affordable for the poor, and I think was a great insight and kind of at the base of some of his entrepreneurial activity. A new U.S.-India partnership for climate resilience to strengthen capacity by expanding actionable data and tools for tasks like vulnerability assessments, climate-smart agriculture, water use efficiency, looking at the energy-water nexus. These are all areas that we think have great partnership. And then our other new partnership to train students and scholars in the U.S.-India Climate Fellowship Program, I think will be a very important one. The more exchange we can get at the person-to-person level, I think the great. So all these collaborations, I think, sound great. We're going to have to probably do some prioritization, get some action plans put together, some roadmaps. They are not a moment too soon. Responding to climate change is really a great challenge of our generation, but doing it in a way that grows economies, provides clean energy, provides energy security are all critical. Just a few blocks from this hotel, 4 metro stops away, we literally have the Army Corps of Engineers building a levee on 17th Street, and that just kind of gives you an idea that we are also looking at these issues. High tide in Miami apparently is getting wet on some of the streets, so I think we really have a lot of shared issues that we have to address. Bottom line, Department of Energy is ready and willing to work with India to meet economic and energy goals, to do so in a way in which we can both innovate and create the technologies that will serve us and serve other nations as well, meeting our challenges. And I think we can together build that clean, sustainable future that President Obama and Prime Minister Modi are committed to. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Secretary Moniz, for being here with us today. A more formal thank you awaits you later, but as you mentioned, we will have a lot of collaboration in the energy space soon. And today, right now, we are going to have an energy collaboration, which I would like to share it with everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, today at the 5th edition of the US-India Energy Partnership Summit, TERI India and United Technologies is proud to announce the TERI Center of Excellence. May I request Dr. McQuade, Senior Vice President for Science and Technology, UTC, and Dr. Pachauri, Director General, TERI, to sign the Memorandum of Understanding on cooperation on enhancing energy efficiency in the built environment. May I also request the leads or the torch bearers in India, Mr. Zubin Irani, President UTC, and my colleague Ms. Millie Majumdar, Director Sustainable Habitat TERI, to also come up on stage to seal the deal and for a photo opportunity. Thank you. Thank you all. Without much ado, may I request Dr. McQuade to deliver his special remarks on this momentous occasion.
Thank you very much. Secretary Moniz, Dr. Pachauri, as we all know, Dr. Annapurna, and everybody, distinguished guests here, I want to thank you for being here. On behalf of United Technologies Corporation, not only are we pleased to have helped sponsor this 5th U.S.-India Energy Partnership Summit, but the agreement that we've just signed is really a statement about the cooperation that's both existed and will exist between, let me say first, the U.S. and India, and specifically between UTC and TERI. I want to thank Pachi, Annapurna, Millie, my colleague Bill Sisson, and Zubin Irani, who are here, for allowing us the opportunity to create this Center of Excellence for Energy Efficient Buildings. I'll simply say the words and then come back. 100 smart cities. I'll come back to that in just a second, so just remember that as I go through here. Just expanding on what Secretary Moniz said, it's really important for us, and it's really quite simple. In addition to all of the work everybody does on clean, renewable energies, on delivering cleaner versions of existing energy, the importance of energy efficiency cannot be overstated. It's important from the business we're in, but it's also important for the way we operate our business. So let me just tell you a little story about UTC. First of all, we make stuff. We're a company that actually sort of cuts metal, makes things. We make jet engines and helicopters. We make HVAC systems and security systems and elevators. So we're a manufacturing company. In the last decade, our sales have doubled. We're approximately a $62 billion company now, and our energy consumption has gone down by half. Our greenhouse gas emissions have gone down by 30%. Our air chemical emissions have gone down 30%, and our water usage has gone down 30%, and our air chemical emissions have gone down 62%. Thank you. We're also in it for the long term. I had the honor, luxury, Zubin and I together, to being in the every 2-year meeting of the top couple of hundred executives in the company, where my boss, the chairman, let it be known that our goal is to be a $100 billion company in 2020. So another sort of $40 billion added to the company by then. We are on a path to reduce emissions from the company by 80% between 1990 and 2050. And those of you who have followed the whole conversation about what it's going to take to ameliorate the effects of carbon in the atmosphere by 2050, you know that in buildings and in industry, we have to be at 75% less approximately, depending on the model you choose, but 75% less than the kind of numbers we had in the late 1990s. So we're on a path to be 80% below the 1990 level. It's a remarkable story, and it's also a remarkable story because, as I said, we are a company who makes sort of real stuff that takes energy to make. So this is, for the Americans in the crowd, this is blocking and tackling. This is hundreds of millions of dollars of investment every day in buildings, in efficiency, in factories. This is what we do. This is what we then have the right to say to our customers: you can believe that the products we sell are energy efficient. And we have the right to advocate, as we are trying to do here with the announcement of this center. Our partnership with TERI North America, Dr. Pachauri and the dedicated team, goes back almost a decade. And it's very important for us. It's very important for us because obviously India is the epicenter of global construction. Dr. Moniz mentioned a statistic. I have a version which is approximately the same. As I was told one time, 85% of the buildings in the United States that will exist in 2050 already do, and in India they don't. So if you think about the amount of construction that will happen, the amount of renovation that will happen in these 100 smart cities and across the country, being able to deliver energy efficient solutions is crucial to a secure, stable economic growth in the future of India. So we are delighted to be able to sponsor this Center of Excellence, which is one crucial component of how we can help collectively India in that path, in that journey, to make the buildings as smart and efficient as they possibly can be. It ties directly to the experience we have around the world. And it's no accident that TERI is our chosen partner to do this in India. TERI's created technical and thought leadership in India for a very long time. The students who go through the university, the creation of an intellectual capacity to understand buildings, to understand energy efficiency in buildings, to understand the connection between buildings and climate and buildings and energy economic security. The green rating system for integrated habitat assessment is a landmark piece of work that's come out of TERI, and it's very important to how we have to have the ability to measure, monitor, and determine progress in buildings. The collaboration with the U.S. and Global Green Building Council to expand the LEED rating system that's proven effective in Southeast Asia, and the ability to integrate that in to the way things are done in India. All of these are remarkably important for what India will need to do and what we hope to be able to help do. Many of you that participate in the building side of the world, you all know the statistic. It's 40% of the energy consumption in the world in the built environment. Despite what historically has been a much larger percentage of energy devoted to the agricultural section, the agricultural sector in India. India is on a path by 2020 that 37% of the electrical energy will be consumed in the built environment. So this is not a problem for the future, it's a problem for the now. It has all the attendant problems that building markets around the world have. It's a fragmented market. We have incentives that are not coupled to who owns what, who has to pay for what, all of the problems that we experience everywhere else in the world. And so one of the reasons that we're investing in this new Center of Excellence is to begin the process to help us to measure progress, to define what progress will be, to be able to help put in place the measurement systems, and most importantly, to provide a center that can collaborate with governments at the state level, governments at the national level, in establishing the intellectual base for what will be future policy, what will be future standards and regulations. All of that is the hope and dream for what this Center of Excellence in building efficiency is all about. So now I'll come back at the end. So India has announced a plan for 100 smart cities. Those of you who live there, those of you who know how these things work, there will not be 100 smart cities. There will either be 0 or there will be thousands of smart cities. There will be 0 if we don't do the right thing. There will be thousands if we take the steps now to help understand what a smart city is. It's a smart city that's a livable city. It's a smart city that's a workable city. It's a smart city that's an energy efficient and human efficient city. And if we can work the role of energy efficiency now with the contributions from this center, we will have done our part. So Pachi and the TERI team, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to collaborate. Thank you for being what UTC looks for in a partner, one who sets very high expectations, one who puts together a plan to deliver those expectations. We adapt along the way. And most importantly, thank you for being a leading light in what we consider one of the most important areas in energy and climate in the world. Thank you very much.
Dr. McQuade, how do I say thank you? Your presence here and the UTC's support to both TERI and the TERI North America is invaluable. Bill Sisson, thank you so much. He is the member of the TERI North America board and leading us and guiding me in every step that I take. Secretary Moniz, thank you once again for your presence here today. It really meant a lot to TERI North America the moment you mentioned that you were coming, and it was very quick and very easy to confirm, but the timings had to be looked at, but you had the confirmation, and it was great to have you to get your confirmation in time. We can proudly say that TERI North America's and Yale's US-India Energy Partnership Summit has now become an annual event on the calendars of many organizations, both in US and India. I have to thank the staff of DOE who have provided guidance and support throughout the planning process of the summit. So, thank you, sir. I thank all the chairs and speakers and moderators who have contributed to the substantive content of the summit. My colleagues at TERI, some of them who are working for the last 1 week on the US time zone. I need to thank them, and my colleagues who are here. Some of them I would like to name, all of them I would like to name. It's Varuni, Aarti, Sonali, and Ranjana. Can you please give them a big hand? This event could not have happened unless we had got the support of this hotel, the staff who have been extremely patient with all the changes that we made with giving them no time. The Marriott staff, Tina Gringa is here with us. I can see her here. Thank you so much. Mary Beth Anslow, Rahil Khan, and Joshua, who have looked after the audio-visual and have also ensured that we have web-linked it and we have provided the microsite, and we have had thousands of people watching the summit and the deliberations, both in India and the US. Besides the substantive content, this could not have happened without the financial support. Yale, USAID, UTC, ECP, AmCham, FICCI, who have been our main partners in this. Thank you all. Thank you very much for having this US-India Summit, the 5th summit, a great success. Can I have the role of our partners right now? Thank you all, and we look forward to your presence on the 6th US-India Energy Partnership Summit, and we invite you all right now